नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome back devotees. So we will be starting the new series which is Prabhupada Lilamrita. The Prabhupada Lilamrita is so much nectarian, but very unfortunate that most of the devotees don't इसके ऊपर चर्चा नहीं करते, don't discuss on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. So as an example, let me take my temple only. So our temple has अराउंड 7 days ऑफ श्रीमद् भागवतम क्लास. उसमें से एक दिन होगा जिसमें प्रभुपाद लीलामृत के बारे में डिस्कस किया जाएगा. एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज दैट प्रभुपाद लीलामृत वही लोग डिस्कस करते हैं, वही भक्त डिस्कस करते हैं हु आर वेरी मच ओल्ड इन एज, एंड द यंग ड्यूटीज दे डिस्कस अबाउट श्रीमद् भागवतम. सो हम देख सकते हैं कि दैट देयर इज सम नेग्लेक्ट टुवर्ड्स श्री प्रभुपाद लीलामृत. But we can say that Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita is the first, is the most nectarian thing to the preachers of Krishna consciousness movement. So taking this, taking mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all of his disciples who are right now continually, very sincerely engaged in Krishna conscious spreading in the whole material world, by taking their blessings, vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. By taking the blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and ultimately blessings of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, we will be starting the new series of Prabhupada Lilamrita. So without wasting any time, we will be starting from the introduction section. So introduction. Here, Sat Swarup Goswami Maharaj, His Holiness Sat Swarup Goswami Maharaj, he starts in the introduction that from childhood, Srila Prabhupada worship Lord Krishna. हम क्या करते हैं, हाँ मैं शिक्षा गुरु whom I continually hear about from him. So he was saying in one आचार्य के बारे में जो डिस्कस करते हैं वो लेक्चर में, he was saying that what the acharyas do, those are pastimes from the childhood, and what we do from the childhood, those are time pass. Pastimes and time pass. So yes, Srila Prabhupada worshipped Lord Krishna from childhood. What did we do during childhood? Play and roam around. Understanding him to be the supreme personality of Godhead, the source of all existence, and beginning at age 22 after his first meeting with his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada became more and more active in spreading the teachings of Lord Krishna. So I have heard about Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit very in fragments, like by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. He has initiated very big project of showing Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit to the whole devotee community in the form of Abhay Charan series, which is available in YouTube in many languages. There are 25 languages this series is available, so you can also check that. It's very nectarian. I checked out the full series. And Amog Prabhu, his grace, Amog Prabhu, he has also given 20 lectures, 20 lectures in one series of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So we will be trying to cover it line by line, जैसे हम NCERT line by line पढ़ते हैं. There are many lectures in YouTube also. So we will be covering it line by line, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. So in the second paragraph, here Satswarup Goswami Maharaj, he is saying that in Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita Volume 1, we see Srila Prabhupada struggling alone to publish Back to Godhead magazine, personally typing, editing, visiting the printer, and then distributing the copies on the streets of New Delhi. Working alone in Jhansi, India, Prabhupada gathered a few part-time followers to create the League of Devotees, an early attempt to enact his vision of introducing people from all nations, races, and levels of society to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, uh, when Srila came in contact with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he the fire of preaching uh, transferred from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So here Srila Prabhupada, during his early days in Jhansi, he was there in Jhansi. He tried to establish the League of Devotees, and there also he got many devotees who are helping, who are doing Sankirtana, who are helping Srila Prabhupada. But Krishna's plan was different. At that moment, Srila Prabhupada, even if we would have succeeded in that plan, then that small plan would only cover up to Jhansi or all over India, but not all over world. So Krishna cancelled that plan, and by what that Mataji, who she was a feminist, so she wanted a Mahila Sangha to establish somewhere. So she bought, or we can say she gone to the League of Devotees जहाँ पे वो building था, and she wanted to there to for her feminist party to develop, or we can say to gather around for discussing feminism. So unfortunately, or we can say at that time unfortunately, but right now very fortunately, Sharupad has to left the League of Jhansi and the devotees he made at that time, and he tried to, उसके बाद आगे की लीला आएगी. So we will be discussing धीरे धीरे. Srila was still alone as he arrived in America in 1965, but he was filled with faith in Krishna and determination to establish Krishna consciousness in the West and thus fulfill the desire of his spiritual master. When Srila met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or we can say he was brought to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada by his friend. So at that time only, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada saw Abhay Charan, and he directly, at that moment only, he instructed that you are very much educated. Why don't you preach this message of Krishna consciousness movement to the Western world? So this is the connection of the acharyas in our parampara. So yes, that's why it is said here that determination to establish Krishna consciousness in the West and thus fulfill the desire of his spiritual master and a prediction of the scriptures and previous saints. Young men and women on New York's Lower East Side joined, attracted not so much to Vedic culture as to Swamiji and his chanting of Hare Krishna. Thus, beginning from a small storefront, matchless gift shop, Srila Prabhupada introduced the Hare Krishna movement to America. We followed Srila Prabhupada to San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury during the hippie heyday of 1967 as he establishes his Krishna consciousness movement there, just as he had done in New York City. Then in May of 1967, he appeared to suffer a heart attack and retired to India to recuperate. It became even clearer that the Krishna consciousness movement, its life and its growth depended entirely upon him. Although a few dozen sincere workers were dedicated to his service, they felt helpless and incompetent to do any missionary work, or even to maintain their own spiritual vows to abstain from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling unless he were personally present to lead them. In December 1967, Srila Prabhupada returned to America and his young spiritual family. So, here it is said that in 1967, Srila Prabhupada got a heart attack, and he then had to return to India because Srila Prabhupada, he had this that wherever the sun is there, because in India देखो आप यहाँ पे भी देख सकते हो, I have not turned any lights on, but still there is so much exposure to sun in India that Srila Prabhupada would resonate his energy whenever he got in front of the sun. He got sunshine, sun rays onto his body. But in West, we can see, or as Sharupad said, or Sharupad's experience, that in West it is cloudy. It is like very hazy. No, there is no sunshine very much. ऐसा direct sunshine होता नहीं है वहाँ पे, and because due to there are so many skyscrapers, so it is very impossible to get the sunshine to our body. So that's why Srila had to return to India. And it is said that the new people, the new devotees which Srila got, they were not able to, even they were not able to help, they were feeling helpless that even to maintain their spiritual vows, they are feeling helpless because Srila Prabhupada was not there. And then when Srila Prabhupada, when he got back to his young spiritual family, it is said in the last line, as Srila Prabhupada would comment several years later, his movement didn't really begin until his return to America 1967 December. His time was limited, he knew. The heart attack had proven that. Now, in whatever time was left, he had to accomplish his mission. And as his International Society for Krishna Consciousness began to grow, it gradually spread beyond its simple and sometimes humorous beginnings to become a spiritual institution considered noteworthy even among world religions. In present volume, we follow Srila Prabhupada through the years of his greatest active participation in ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As its sole leader, yes, Srila Prabhupada is established as its sole leader, founder Acharya of ISKCON. In 1968, Srila Prabhupada had approximately 50 disciples and 6 ISKCON centers. In 1968, मतलब 1967 में उनको हार्ट अटैक आया था, उसके एक साल में he got 6 centers and 50 disciples. Although his followers have increased their numbers, most of them are no more than sincere neophytes. So, two contradictory words are there, sincere and neophytes. Prabhupada is personally available to each of his disciples, and he continues to manage and maintain each ISKCON center. Then in July of 1970, Srila Prabhupada forms his Governing Body Commission, GBC, and begins to turn over ISKCON's management to his board of GBC secretaries. Yet we find Srila Prabhupada still actively guiding the activities of his society, expanded by 1971 to 600 disciples and 65 centers. Although the teachings of Krishna consciousness have existed since time immemorial within India's Sanskrit Vedic literatures and are the origin and essence of all religious expression, until Srila Prabhupada began his preaching, Krishna consciousness in its original purity had never been widely spread. In the most popular and basic Vedic text, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches that He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that real religion, real knowledge, and real endeavor can be understood only when one dedicates his life to the loving service of the Lord. Only full surrender to the Supreme can bring one freedom from the loss of karma and the cycle of repeated birth and death. So we can keep it until here. We'll be discussing the next stanza, or we can say that we will be completing the introduction part from tomorrow until tomorrow, and start from the first chapter, that how Srila took his appearance in this material world, and how magnanimous were his pastimes. So Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.